everyone, this is Maheen and welcome to the CanadianSME Small Business Podcast. Today we are breaking down the industrial engineering of modern workspace technology integration, network vulnerability, architecture, and structural threat mitigation systems for commercial operations. In 2026, shielding a distributed small business or nonprofit from sophisticated ransomware networks, compliance penalties, and skyrocketing insurance premiums require looking past standard IT support packages to deploy specialized penetration testing, secure audiovisual alignment, and holistic asset protection arrays. Joining us is Ryan Oriwol, the sales executive at Davidson Violette and Associates Inc. Ryan is a premier workplace technology strategist with deep corporate experience for coordinating complex infrastructure deployments across Canadian enterprises, helping small businesses design, deploy, and securely support the networks powering their everyday operations. So there's lots to unpack. Without further ado, let's dive in and welcome Ryan. Ryan, it's a pleasure having you on the show with us this afternoon. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Thank you so much. No, I'm doing great. I really appreciate you having me on and looking forward to get started.
Very pleased to have you with us as well. Ryan, would love to understand or open a discussion actually by dismantling small business cyber misconceptions. You know, many small business owners out there, they still function under the false assumption that hackers, they only target multi-million-dollar corporations, leaving the smaller enterprises wide open to the, catastrophic network attacks. Tell us, what common cybersecurity misconceptions do small business owners still have, and what's the reality?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I mean, you really hit the nail on the head there with that first one. It's the notion that their small businesses are too small to get hacked. It's really not about it's not about size. It's about volume. These cyber criminals are just sending out thousands and thousands of phishing emails and attacks and attempts every day. And they're not looking for they're not looking for necessarily one whale, for example. It's more of who's too busy to notice, who's not really up to date on what's suggested, and now we're just looking for just someone to click the wrong email or hasn't updated their passwords, and they're just going for who's vulnerable.
Hmm. That's a good starting point, and it tells us a lot in terms of how do we how have we failed to realize that automated hacker bots target the weakest entry point regardless of company size? And if we realize this, it is the quickest way to really jeopardize our entire operation. Now let's explore how the line between your everyday office hardware and your digital defense barrier has completely disappeared. Ryan, how can overlooked office hardware create major security breaches?
Yeah, so without getting too technical, I'd say my job is to just translate the technical stuff into very simple and understandable kind of nuggets of information. And one of the common misconceptions, or this kind of line that's disappeared between, say, IT and versus AV. Almost everything is a computer now, and if it has access to the internet or if it has access to your network, that's a vulnerability. These endpoints, like your printer, for example, are the most common way to get access to a network. So it's not your laptop that is necessarily where you're going to get hit from. It's something like honestly, well, what hasn't doesn't have a computer now? Coffee machines have computers on them, and printers, and boardroom displays, meeting room tablets, security cameras, and something as simple as not updating the default factory password on these endpoints is makes it a vulnerability.
Mhm. Well, that completely reframes how we look at office hardware because treating audiovisual gear or printers as separate from our core network architecture leaves a glaring default password doorway wide open for the threat actors. Now let's look at the actual evaluation protocols that are used to find these hidden gaps before malicious actors find them for us. Brian, what is a penetration test and how does it strengthen defenses while reducing costs?
Yeah, great question. So penetration tests are like the core of our cybersecurity business for small to medium businesses. So the way I like to think of it is you're hiring someone to break into your house before the burglars do, and we are going to let you know how we did at breaking in and what was vulnerable and needs to updating because someone else is going to try it. So it's not so much just uh, adding security, right? So we're going to find our ways where, to access your network. And that might be through, like I said, endpoints, but it could be through just staff. Social hacking is just calling and pretending to be someone that we're not, and getting access or getting information that we could find helpful. And I think a common misconception with penetration tests or security audits is that this is something that's beneficial to like the more paranoid folks, and this is something that'll help because like 10 years ago there was some accuracy to that. Like it wasn't as common for people to reach out for a penetration test, but what we've been seeing a lot, it's not so much the paranoid of, well, they're gonna get access to my inventory. Like we're talking about plumbers and florists, small business owners, and it's not so much to do with the security. It has a lot more to do with the insurance. So
Mhm.
that's a lot of what I talk about and why we suggest penetration tests and security audits, because insurers are getting wise to these ransom attacks and they know how damaging they can be, and they don't want to have to be on the hook for paying for it. So your premiums are just skyrocketing, and in a lot of cases now they're making cyber insurance mandatory.
Mhm.
People might not know that until they're going to renew and they need a new premium to take care of, and having someone come in like us to give you at least checking off a few more of the boxes can really help reduce with the costs of insurance.
That is an incredibly practical approach as well to risk management, because running a controlled stress test on our network infrastructure, it gives us the exact blueprint needed to remediate structural flaws safely. Now let's pivot to the shifting realities of global risk management and discuss the evolving world of corporate insurance. Brian, why are cyber insurance requirements becoming a major concern for Canadian small businesses?
Well, it's a concern because no one wants to be on the hook for paying for a ransomware attack. It's a terrible scenario to be in. It's very scary, and you never know when it's over. If you pay the ransom and you think I'll just give in and I'll get rid of this, there's nothing stopping these cyber criminals from doing it again. And it's more likely that it will happen to you again because they know that you're vulnerable. So insurers don't want to be the butt end of that and needing to cover it. So they've made they every insurer is different. So we kind of work with you to see what is needed, but there's a checklist basically, and there are a lot of different things that need to be covered to be eligible for cyber insurance. And then that premium is going to be decided on how vulnerable those are. Um, one case we were working with a daycare here in Ottawa, and they were going to renew their insurance, and they were told that they were going to have to spend $10,000 a year on cyber insurance. They have a lot of very sensitive data. They have children's identities. They have video of the property with children in it, and that is not something that people want to risk. So their insurance premium, where they were quoted $10,000 a year, and they also got a checklist of you make sure these are all like passwords and network securities, antiviruses, all the. I'm not going to get into all the specifics, but it's a long list of things that you need to kind of help, and that's where we come in. Like I said, it's not. We're not getting calls because people are afraid of hackers. We're getting calls because they got a massive questionnaire and checklist, and they have no idea how to cross it. And maybe they have an IT person, maybe they don't. I know most small businesses don't have a in-house IT team that they can just walk through that. And if they do have someone who's like the IT person, That's a lot of things like that they have to put aside to get working on. So that's where we come in and we go through the steps with you. We do staff training. We do, you know, firmware updates. I'll go through the list with you and take care of everything. And that daycare, after we had gone through with them on that checklist, we are actually able to get their premium down to $3,000 a year. So it is a very practical, like cost saving. It is helpful for your business and not just about being afraid of hackers. It is a real cost and it will increase because it's more and more common and the costs are it'll reflect that.
Right. Let's shed light on massive corporate blind spot because a modern insurance carrier will not even code an enterprise today unless they can prove they have regular security reviews and structural controls firmly active. Now, Ryan, let's pull all these variables together into an actionable framework that small business owners can implement right away. Tell us, how can professional security audit help lower insurance premiums and stabilize operations?
Yeah, so there's like every case is a little different, but it starts with find like what the benefit is not necessarily getting some report that they're able to send to their insurer. Often it's we want to help work with you, and I've never met a small business owner who wants 100-page report of every little thing that we found. A lot of people are not that technical when it comes to this kind of infrastructure. And you know they get frustrated when things are down, or it's you know, an IT issue that, you know, it takes time to go through these. But a audit or a penetration test is us finding all of the different vulnerabilities that are on your networks through endpoints, like we talked about the printers or the coffee machine. But it's also a lot about staff training and just keeping people aware of how these scams work, how phishing emails look. And they're incredibly good, especially with the use of AI now. These emails look very, very professional, and there's hidden links in them, and you could be on a website for many hours thinking that you're just following the right steps, or your boss has asked you to take care of something. And that's a very common way we see it, where someone will obfuscate their identity to appear as if they're management or the owner, and ask you to do a quick favor, and that's very short and sweet, and you don't really you're just doing your job. But that's not them, and that's the kind of staff training that we need, like just making people aware of that's even possible, or how they might have set up a very professional looking website or a very professional LinkedIn page, and they have connections, maybe even mutual connections, and all the red flags that we used to use for hiding or discovering who is a cyber criminal or not, they're getting wise to it as well. So we have to be one step ahead.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for all these great pieces of information that you were able to share, Ryan. Really, this is an excellent piece of strategic advice because shifting our technology culture from reactive firefighting to proactive validation, it really prevents devastating downtime and preserves our hard-earned margins. As we wrap up, what is your top advice for improving security and passing the next insurance review this quarter?
Maybe just start with the really basics. You don't need to hire us to come in and tell you how to turn on multi-factor authentication, or even just having a seminar with your staff to walk through the basics of cybersecurity. YouTube is a great source. There's a lot of great information out there. You know, when it comes to uh, your insurance premiums, and when it gets like we got to get into the nitty gritty details, please give us a call at DVAI. But just start with the back with the basics. You know, test your backups, train your staff, and you should be all right. But once it comes to the big stuff, you give us a call.
Well, that is a great reminder that true business resilience, it relies on understanding every connected node in our smart workplace environment, and managing corporate risk before an attack occurs. So thank you so much, Ryan, for joining us today and for sharing just how can we become more proactive, and how do we navigate cyber insurance constraints, especially, which is a major concern for small businesses. So thank you for all your time.
I really appreciate it. I do. I'm really glad I was able to come on here. I think what you guys are doing is great. Very pro Canada, and I love working with other small businesses. My entire career has just been small businesses here in Canada. So I'm looking forward to hopefully getting to work with more of them.
Amazing. And listeners, that was Ryan from Davidson Violette and Associates Inc. showing us how to move past basic antivirus blind spots, protect our connected smart office environments, and pass critical cyber insurance audits to protect small business margins in 2026. Thank you for tuning into the podcast. To learn more about how we are supporting the ecosystem, please visit Canadian SME Small Business Foundation at smefoundation.ca. A special shout out to UPS and ADP for their ongoing commitment to empowering small businesses across Canada. Join us next week as we explore our next critical topic. Until next time, please keep innovating and keep growing.